I don't think it should have been treated as doomsday. It should have been treated as a possible path. I think the other thing that was very special about this election is, boy, did the numbers move around a lot. And I wish in retrospect I'd seen that and said, well, that's a reason to, at every juncture, always plan for the worst possible scenario. But that's hard when you're 10 points up in Michigan, when that's what your data is saying. Yeah.
So you were 10. When was the last time your data showed you were 10 points up in Michigan?
We were, until that Comey letter, we were 9, 10 points up pretty consistently.
The 11th in the last, so 2 weeks before, he did the letter 11 day. You had data. Now, you didn't have it wasn't a poll, it was analytics, sort of. I understand that you say it's similar, but there is some differences. You claimed you thought you were up 10.
Absolutely, and that's why we made the decisions we made. Although, I have to say, we saw softness in Michigan the whole time. That's why we had, 4 times as many staff as Obama did. We had a huge voter registration program in Detroit. But again, I think the lesson to take away from this is, moving forward in our politics, it's volatile. We can't plan for 2-3 point spreads like we used to. We have to plan for scenarios in different directions, and that means being pessimistic.
Is it possible you had a candidate that was unelectable in those states?
I don't think so.
Have you gone through that scenario in your head?
I don't think so. There are scenarios we can't imagine now, such as what if the FBI had been candid about investigations against Donald Trump for his activities with Russia. We had unprecedented headwinds, and the challenge that Hillary faced, and there aren't good answers about what she could have done, is it was hard for her to talk about what she wanted to do for people. It was really hard. She was getting tripped up every day on emails, WikiLeaks.
What do you do about this debate inside the party? Because I know everybody's going to say, oh, you can do both, but this idea of identity politics versus how you're going to win back the working class vote, this has been a tension. How do you deal with it?
I think this is sometimes a false choice. If you stand up for working people in this country, whatever color their skin is or their gender is or anything else, you're in the right zone. And I think the Republicans, and certainly Donald Trump, sometimes wants to try to paint those lines because that's an effective way to divide the electorate. I don't think we should give in to that. This is about every American having, a fair shot at great opportunities. That's what these elections really should be about, and that's what our party's about. And so, when we talk about the next chair, when we talk about the next elections, I think it's an opportunity to return to that. We cannot let our country get divided on race and gender and other lines.
Do you believe this was a free and fair election?
I think that there were a lot of headwinds that Hillary faced.
Headwinds doesn't answer the question of whether you think it's free or fair.
I think, look, the result is finished, and the result is fair, and we need to respect the result. I think there were things that happened, interventions by Russia, by James Comey and the FBI, the leaks that we saw coming out of those field offices. Those things were not fair. But you know what? The result is where it is. All kinds of crazy things happen during elections, and we need to accept that, look at the future.
All right, Robbie Mook, thanks for coming in.
Take care.
Appreciate it. As you saw, we edited it a little bit. We have a lot more of the interview on our website, including what Robbie says about rumors that Clinton World is blaming President Obama for their loss. You can see all this at Meet the Press, NBC.com. And by the way, we also get into the weeds on this issue of, was analytics essentially a bit of a hokey science?